days are happy days, a day you get to spend with your loved ones. But this wasn't particularly the case for Nancy. It is past 9 p.m. Nancy had just finished her shift at the bar about an hour ago and decided to have a few drinks with some of her colleagues after their official closing hour. It was her birthday, and her colleagues had insisted she stayed back for an hour or two to celebrate with her. Nancy had just one drink and ate very little. She wanted to have some space in her stomach to eat whatever it was her mother must have prepared for her back home. She had promised her parents to be back in time to celebrate her birthday with them. Nancy looked at the wall clock that hung at the entrance of the bar. It was past 10 p.m. She needed to get going. So as not to get her parents worked up for staying out late, she texted her dad, telling him she was on her way home. She bade her colleagues goodbye while exchanging hugs with each of them. They were going to stay back and clean up things before leaving. Outside the bar, the cold breeze gave Nancy chills. It had rained earlier in the evening and the weather app on her phone hadn't forecasted a rainy day, so she hadn't brought her jacket along. There were fewer movements on the streets, so she didn't hesitate to get a taxi. While inside the taxi, she couldn't stop trying to guess the surprise that awaited her back home, what presents her parents could have bought for her. The year before, on her 21st birthday, her parents had gotten her a fluffy puppy, a creature she had come to love and take on as her responsibility. She named it Roddy after her favorite artist. Nancy led a simple life. Her family was not particularly rich. All they had was just enough to sustain them and cover bills. She had started working at the bar to save up extra money for her tertiary education. Her dad was working extra hours as well as her mother, who had insisted she doesn't spend another year at home. Nancy's neighborhood wasn't exactly the ideal neighborhood. There were no street lights, but thanks to the moon that shone so brightly that night, she could see clearly where she was headed. There was no one on the streets. She was a bit scared, but she tried to wave off that feeling. She got her headphones from her handbag. She put them on and went on to search for her favorite song on Spotify, The Box by Radovich. She hymned to the lyrics while still being very watchful of her immediate environment. First, she heard a rustle, but she was too scared to turn around and look the direction where it came from. She hastened her steps. She should be home in probably 5 minutes. Then she heard a laugh. She started walking briskly. She had wanted to make for a run when she felt a tap on her shoulder. Hey, beauty, the male voice said. She froze at that moment. She was beginning to sweat despite the cold breeze. She tried to shove off the hand, but she felt a grip on her second hand. Hey, girl, don't be scared. We just want to talk to you. The second voice was calm, but that didn't mean she was less scared. Come say hi to our friends over there, the first voice said, pointing to a dark corner. They both reeked of alcohol. Nancy was too scared to speak. She couldn't move. It was as if she'd been glued to the ground. When he realized she wasn't going to move an inch, the first guy dragged her by her right hand. Please, Nancy let out a sob. She finally found her voice. They got to where the other guys were at. There were two of them, making them four in total. Please, she had pleaded again. Don't fight it, and this is going to be as painless as possible. There was a third voice, and with the tone he spoke with, he seemed to be the leader of the gang. With tears in her eyes, she pleaded for the last time. This time, it came out as a whisper. While being held down by the first two guys, the third came on her, trying to take off her trousers. She fought back so aggressively, hitting and kicking and scratching. The next thing she felt was a wet cloth over her face before she passed out. She woke up the next morning, or so she thought, at the hospital, her father holding her left hand while she lay in bed, and her mother crying uncontrollably at the corner.